What is a short sign that someone is new to your hobby? The "I got a mic. I'm just going to do it on the side. Make some extra money. Me okay. Do you want to do ads or something? Them no. I want to voice anime and cartoons. Sad want to make money at voiceover. Do ads. Want to voice animation. Get an agent and good luck. Want to make money at voiceover. Do ads. How does one do this? I'm curious now. If you have an agent, then it's way easier to get higher paying gigs. However, if you're doing it on the side from home, there's some pay to play websites out there you can subscribe to and browse audition listings. But you do need to put forth quite a bit of time and money before you even audition. You need a mic and editing software at the very least. Depending on your mic, you may need extra equipment to hook it up to your computer. However, you'll also want to set up a space that is conducive to recording clean audio. I've been doing though since I was 13, and I started out by setting up a closet with moving blankets and my own clothes to dampen sound. Later, when I was in college, I purchased acoustic foam and built a little foam lined box to house my mic. Once you're set up, you need a demo reel to put on your profile of these audition websites. You can make fake scripts to read or just find some samples online. But potential employers want to hear a variety of tones and styles. Each clip in your reel should also be fully edited with Music SFX. After all that, it's auditioning time. Keep in mind that it's hundreds of people on these sites auditioning for the same jobs. The lower paying ones get fewer auditions, which means you are more likely to secure a gig. But the higher paying jobs can get upwards of 1,000 auditions. So, you kind of have to always be auditioning to make any money. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But I eventually stopped because I didn't even break even from the amount of time I put in and the subscription fee to the site, which was something like $400, $500. I still have my equipment, and in fact, I kind of tripped and fell into doing VO for a TV commercial airing in September. It's just a lot harder to do than many people realize. They want to make incredibly overly complicated recipes, or they want to 100% exactly replicate one of the best beers in the world. They're almost paralyzed by fear of infection contamination. Missed my gravity by 2 points. Will it be okay? No, give it here. They ask one of the 10 or so questions that get posted almost daily to our writing. Or they just assume they know everything already and their first draft is brilliant and won't hear anything to the contrary. 9 times out of 10. Could you critique my writing? Tell me I'm talented and special. People don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion coming out of your mouth. They buy a fishbowl, posting on our aquarium how's my setup, and they have Imaginarium neon rocks and no filter. Why would I have to treat my water? It comes out of the tap clean. First project. I'm making a baby blanket. Crochet. And I can say this because I did this as well. It takes much longer than it seems like it should to make a blanket. I've been crocheting for close to 20 years now, and I still suck at finishing baby blankets. Haha. Hoard yarn and start 12 whips that I rotate through as one bores me. Heck yes. Brand new guy asking a bunch of addicted gamers, hey, should I buy this 100 pack? Is game worth playing? On the game subreddit. Gee, I wonder what that fans will say. Actually, I asked that in the Madden sub and pretty much everyone said the game is trash, lol. Why do my plants always die in a few weeks? I water them every day. Okay, I gotta confess. I killed 2 cactuses. The first one, I watered it every week, and it started to rot from the inside. The second one dried to death. I had to let it out. Everybody told me not to give mine too much water, so I didn't. Turns out that they need to be watered every year like clockwork. The good news is that a dead one looks a lot like a live one. Blacksmithing. I've never forged anything, but I found some great spring steel, so I'm going to make a sword. What else do I need? First you need to forge 200 nails, so you can learn proper hammer swings. After that you're ready to make a bottle opener. I scrolled so far for blacksmithing. I'm new. Just took a class and built my own brake drum forge with a rail anvil. The first thing I'm planning to try to make with the forge is some 4 tongs out of mild steel bar stock. Then it's tons of hooks and nails which I've made already before I get close to anything else. I'm thinking skewers for something to up the skill. They Google the best, and then they try to explain to you why that manufactured product listed in half of the links from the first Google search results page is the best. My boss told me today he pays X amount of money to be top page in search results. I added it to all my searches to get an idea of what I should be searching for, then I narrow down my searches to why I should be searching those things. It's legit like doing a research paper for me when I search which flashlight to get next. Not kidding. I created a site link that kind of does this. You can browse Amazon products that have been linked by redditors in comments by subreddit, for example link. It's not perfect as a lot of niche items like flashlights are generally bought direct from manufacturer or at specialty stores, but it's a good jumping off point for lots of other things. Climbing no calluses on the hands. Cool shooting too hard for every shot. They don't thin their paints or put them on the miniature in one thick coat. I have a great idea for a new board game. I have never made a board game before. It's like a combination of Monopoly and Risk, but I don't want to give more details because I don't want someone to steal my idea. Can anyone make art for my Kickstarter? I'll give you credit. Or they explain the concept to you. So it's a bit like Carcassonne. What's Carcassonne? If they are thinking about making a small business based around a crafting hobby, I tend to see a lot of people begin talking about making a small business out of hobbies they haven't even started yet, or are very early into it. I love knitting. It's one of my favorite things to do. I would not do it for money. The amount of effort I would have to put, it would not make it fun anymore. I posted a pair of socks I'd made for myself the other day, and one of my friends said you should make those to sell. Which sounds great, until you find out that it took 50 of premium yarn and 40 hours of my time to make a single pair. A lot of people don't realize how much money goes into craft materials. Then they say, why don't you just use cheaper materials? For me, I'm a bladesmith. I don't use cheaper steel for the knives I make because they would get dull or chip easily. I'll put many hours into my craft too. There's no way I wouldn't factor that into a price if I listed one for sale. Edit. A few of you have mentioned spring steel found in junkyards and other things, and I do try and do that when I get the chance. I need to locate a good junkyard nearby. Why don't you just use cheaper materials? How do people even ask that? Because you get what you pay for, and cheaper is almost always worse quality. Yeah, that's the beginner mistake I came here to post. Cheap yarn is cheap for a reason. It chafes, itches, makes wear clammy, isn't worn more durable. Worst case scenario, it's got knots or the thickness varies. Just, no. I have these 3 electronic components I need to hook to power. What electronic component do I use to connect them to the same power supply? Under baking bread because they are afraid to burn it. It won't burn that fast. Just leave it in the oven. In my opinion, bread is only ever overcooked if it is burned. Some breads do get too dry before they are burned, but in general dark brown is better than barely tan and gummy. They think I'm good at it. That's how I get away with people thinking I play guitar. Real guitar players are like, you do know some chords. Yes. I know, right? Occasionally someone will see me playing something and go, oh, you know how to play guitar. No, I just memorize the chords to songs. I don't actually know how anything works. Sounds like you know how to play guitar. Hi guys. I'm looking to buy a CNC router. My requirements: I want to cut aluminum, steel, titanium, and unobtainium. I'm looking for precision within 0.001 mm at least, but 0.0001 mm would be better. I need a bed at least 1 male by 2 male, but 2 male by 4 male would be better. Automatic tool changing is a plus, but not strictly required. My budget is 1,000. Which machine would be best for me? I know absolutely nothing about machining. What would a CNC router with the above specs actually cost? 1. It doesn't exist. 2. 250k plus range. Editor matches suck. Bias. Pure, unadulterated excitement at the smallest thing. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing. More that it's lovely to see. Edit. Wow guys. I truly never expected this comment to explode. It's been great reading all of your responses of how my comment applied to your lives, and some of the stories are truly inspiring. Thanks for the upvotes and awards. My karma has gone through the roof. A few weeks ago I replaced a ceiling light in my apartment, including rewiring, and will still walk to the room, just turn it on and off over and over in disbelief that I really did it. A long time ago my car broke down, so before I sold it for pennies on the dollar I took my aftermarket stereo out. I wanted to use it, so I figured out how to wire it up in home. I never built a case for it, so there were wires everywhere, but I love that thing. Like you said for your light, you always think I made this damn thing every time you use it. If they ask how to swap an engine into their car or how to turbo their car, it's a sure sign that they are new to working on cars. The questions aren't necessarily bad, but there's so much work involved in the answer that those questions are way too vague. They're trying to get in way over their head if they don't have the basics figured out beforehand. Ditto on people asking how they can add a lot of power to a base model Mustang or Camaro. There's nothing wrong with the base model, but there's a good reason that the answer is usually sillet, and by the V8, you'd spend just as much money modding the V6 or Turbo 4, and wind up with a vehicle that has maybe the same power output as the V8 at best, but significantly worse reliability. If you're trying to make power, your money very often is best spent starting off with the model that has the better engine. How can I get my V6 Mustang up to 500 HP? I have a budget of $500 and this is my only car. I should be able to do it in a weekend easy if you just tell me what eBay turbo I should buy. They talk about turning the hobby into a business. Talking too much to prove what they know. I have been very guilty of this. Someone who is experienced and skilled at a given activity will tend to just shut up and do it, whatever the activity may be. Tales from our blender. I'm still quite a beginner myself, but some will just go, how do you create this scene? And show really complicated compositions with countless models and complicated materials that an artist must have spent weeks on. Some of them feel like downloading the software is already most of the work done, but this probably goes for most digital art forms. Hiking. New hikers do one of two things. They either load themselves down with 100 pounds of gear they will never use, or they think they can survive a week-long hike with nothing but a granola bar and a Walmart pocket knife. Related story. I was fortunate enough to get a permit and hike Mount Whitney this spring. There was still snow on the trail past 10k foot elevation, so microspikes, cramp and sturdy trekking poles were needed. On my descent around 9k feet, a couple approached me who were going up and asked about the conditions. They were equipped with trail runners and a bottle of water each. No other gear. The wife was clearly upset about how difficult the hike had been thus far and was almost out of water. I felt bad, but told them how difficult it was ahead. And without food, water, anything to help in the snow, they should just turn around now instead of getting into serious trouble. They started to argue with each other about being unprepared, so I just scooted on down. Edit for context: Mount Whitney is a 22-mile round trip, 6,000 feet elevation gain, usually done in 2 days. It's the highest point in California and also the highest point of the contiguous 48 states, sitting at 14,505 feet. Definitely not a casual Sunday walk. Trail runners and a water bottle either means they know exactly what they're doing or no clue what they are getting into. Yep, lol. My very first real hike. This guy in jeans with a single water bottle passed us on the way down. I got the distinct impression he knew exactly what he was doing. I've also seen the opposite, just a water bottle and gym clothes and clearly not prepared for 4,000 feet of elevation gain. If you are considering getting into hiking, do at least some research beforehand, or you may find yourself getting a very costly helicopter ride out of the woods, or dead. That's certainly possible too. They buy super expensive equipment before they know how to use it. It's always either this, or they go against everyone else's advice and buy the cheapest option and end up upgrading anyways almost immediately. I think I just made this mistake. Happens to the best of us. Now you'll pass the advice along to someone else and they won't listen to you, lol. It's the circle of life. My character is a drow rogue. They are chaotic neutral and stick to the shadows. Remember running my first ever campaign with my friends, also their first time playing D&D, and they all told me their alignment was somewhere on the good scale mix of neutral and chaotic, only for them to bully every shopkeeper, guard and child they came across. Frequent post on our music production. Hi everyone. I'm new to all this, and I have zero experience making music. Never had any kind of lessons, and I've never touched a keyboard, and really all I've ever done with music is bob my head along with it in my car. I've never heard of music theory and I'm not really interested in it. So I bought a MacBook Pro and Ableton 11 and the best interfaces and microphones and MIDI keyboards I could afford. I'm going to make sick beats and change the music industry. How do I get started? 100-mile bike ride in summer and they show up on a cruiser with panniers and a single water bottle. They can't say the word cock with a straight face without blushing. I have a hobby goat farm. I say hobby because I got them all as babies. So they are just money pits at the moment, all about 8 months old right now. In the meantime, I've damn near made a career out of clipping hoofs for other people who got a ton of goats and didn't know that they required hoof maintenance. The poor things are usually in a lot of pain by the time I get to them. Research your animals, people. Smoke on the water. When they ask for help in baking something, and I tell them they can't put those combinations together because that's the chemistry of baking. You need to follow the recipe and all the basic rules of baking. Don't expect something nice to come out if you don't know your ratios for baking properly. An example would be a friend that asked if they could make lemon curd cookies by using their leftover curd and putting flour in it and baking it. I said please don't do that because XYA. Guess what? They did it and made cement lemon flavored cookies. They ask if they really need to buy all the books. They always ask, so who are the good guys? And then are shocked when I tell them that there are no good guys in the 41st millennium. Wrong needles for the size yarn they're using. Buying yarn because it was pretty soft on sale and trying to match it to a project instead of choosing a project and buying the yarn with intent in mind. Since you guys seem fixated on this one in particular, I'm talking about people who buy shitty worsted weight acrylic on sale because oh my god the color, and then don't understand why it won't work for that beautiful lace shawl they saw on Rav. Or making a baby blanket out of a yarn that can't be machine wash dried. Or buying cotton yarn for a project that needs some stretchiness to it. Beginners rarely understand how the different fabric types and yarn sizes make a huge difference in end result. So there's a massive difference between an experienced knitter who understands how to use their stash and a beginner who buys whatever and tries to shoehorn it into an unrelated pattern. How many skeins yards of yarn do I need to knit a blanket?